History of Christmas. Ever wonder why we celebrate Christmas on December 25th? Or where traditions like Santa Claus, decorated trees, and gift-giving come from? The story of Christmas spans centuries, blending ancient winter solstice rituals with Christian beliefs and evolving through periods of boisterous revelry, religious reform, and even outright bans. From medieval feasts to enslaved people's acts of resistance, the journey to the Christmas we know today is a fascinating and often surprising tale. Join us as we uncover the rich and complex history of this beloved holiday. How did Christmas start? Midwinter has always been a special time, a period of celebration long before the story of Jesus. For centuries, early Europeans marked this darkest part of the year with festivities honoring light and birth, anticipating the return of the sun. One such celebration was Yule in Scandinavia. Around the winter solstice, starting on December 21st, families would gather. Imagine fathers and sons bringing home huge logs, setting them ablaze in a grand feast that could last up to 12 days. Each spark from the fire held special meaning, symbolizing the promise of new life, a piglet or a calf born in the coming year. It was a time of hope and anticipation. The end of December was a natural time for celebration across much of Europe for a very practical reason. It was then that most cattle were slaughtered, providing a rare abundance of fresh meat. Imagine, this was often the only time of year people enjoyed such a treat. And what better accompaniment than the newly fermented wine and beer, finally ready to drink after months of preparation. Further south, in Germany, midwinter celebrations revolved around the pagan god Odin. Odin was a powerful, even fearsome figure. People believed he flew across the night sky, watching them, judging them, deciding their fate, prosperity, or ruin. It's no wonder many chose to stay inside during this time. These diverse winter traditions, rooted in the cycles of nature and ancient beliefs, laid the groundwork for what would eventually become the Christmas we know today. Saturnalia and Christmas. While Northern Europe faced harsh winters, Rome enjoyed a milder climate and celebrated Saturnalia, a festival dedicated to Saturn, the god of agriculture. This wasn't a short celebration either. Beginning a week before the winter solstice, Saturnalia stretched out for a whole month. It was a time of indulgence, feasting, and a complete reversal of Roman social norms. Imagine, enslaved people experienced temporary freedom, treated as equals, their usual roles overturned. Businesses and schools shut down so everyone could partake in the festivities. It was a truly unique period in the Roman calendar. Around the same time, another Roman holiday took place, Juvenalia, a feast in honor of the children of Rome, a time of youthful joy and celebration. And then, there was Mithra, the god of the unconquerable sun. For some in the upper classes, December 25th marked Mithra's birthday, a sacred day indeed. It was believed that Mithra, an infant god, was born not of woman, but of solid rock, a powerful symbol of strength and resilience. These various winter celebrations, each with its own distinct flavor, intertwined in Roman society, creating a rich tapestry of traditions at the darkest time of the year. Is Christmas really the day Jesus was born? Surprisingly, Christmas wasn't always a major Christian holiday. In the early church, Easter, commemorating Jesus' resurrection, held the central place. It wasn't until the 4th century that church leaders decided to officially celebrate Jesus' birth. There's no mention of the exact date in the Bible, something the Puritans later highlighted in their objections to Christmas celebrations. While some scholars believe Jesus may have been born in the spring, after all, shepherds wouldn't typically be out in the fields in the middle of winter. Pope Julius I chose December 25th, Many historians believe this choice was a deliberate attempt to incorporate existing pagan traditions, like the Roman festival of Saturnalia, into the Christian calendar, making it easier for people to embrace the new faith. Known initially as the Feast of the Nativity, the celebration spread, reaching Egypt by 432 and England by the end of the 6th century. This strategic move proved highly successful. By aligning Christmas with established winter solstice festivals, the Church increased its acceptance, but also lost some control over how it was celebrated. By the Middle Ages, Christianity had largely replaced pagan religions, but the festive spirit of those earlier celebrations lived on in Christmas traditions. Imagine medieval Christmases, church services followed by boisterous, even rowdy celebrations, a carnival atmosphere akin to today's Mardi Gras. A unique custom saw a beggar or student crowned the Lord of Misrule, with merrymakers acting as his loyal subjects. The poor would visit the homes of the wealthy, demanding the finest food and drink, sometimes resorting to mischief if their requests weren't met. Christmas became a time when social hierarchies blurred, a chance for the upper classes to repay a perceived debt to society by entertaining those less fortunate. It was a complex mix of sacred rituals and festive revelry. When Christmas was canceled, the 17th century brought dramatic changes to Christmas celebrations. A wave of religious reform swept through Europe, impacting long-held traditions. In England, Oliver Cromwell and his Puritan forces, seizing power in 1645, aimed to purify the nation from what they saw as decadence. Their efforts included a drastic measure, canceling Christmas altogether. This ban didn't last forever, though. The popular Charles II returned to the throne, reinstating the beloved holiday. Across the Atlantic, the Pilgrims, who arrived in America in 1620, held even stricter Puritan beliefs than Cromwell. For them, Christmas wasn't a cause for celebration. In fact, between 1659 and 1681, celebrating Christmas in Boston was illegal. Imagine being fined 5 shillings simply for showing Christmas spirit. The contrast with the Jamestown settlement couldn't be starker. There, Captain John Smith documented peaceful and joyful Christmas celebrations. Even after the American Revolution, English customs, including Christmas, remained unpopular. It wasn't until June 26, 1870, that Christmas was finally declared a federal holiday in the United States. This long journey to acceptance reveals the complex and evolving relationship between religious beliefs, cultural traditions, and political influences in shaping the way we celebrate Christmas. Washington Irving reinvents Christmas in America. It wasn't until the 19th century that Christmas truly took hold in America, transformed from a rowdy festival into the family-centered holiday we recognize today. This shift occurred during a period of significant social unrest. The early 1800s saw widespread class conflict and high unemployment, leading to frequent riots, especially around Christmas time. In New York City, a Christmas riot in 1828 spurred the creation of the city's first police force, a direct response to the social tensions of the era. It was in this context that some members of the upper classes began to actively reshape the way Christmas was celebrated. Washington Irving, a prominent author, played a key role in this transformation. In 1819, his popular The Sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon Gent presented a romanticized vision of Christmas. Irving described heartwarming celebrations at an English manor house where the squire welcomed peasants into his home for the holiday. This idealized portrayal stood in stark contrast to the social divisions and unrest plaguing American society. Irving's vision of Christmas emphasized peace, warmth, and unity across social classes. He described ancient customs, such as the crowning of a Lord of Misrule, lending a sense of historical authenticity to his narrative. Interestingly, Irving's account wasn't based on his own experiences. Historians suggest he essentially invented these traditions, presenting them as genuine customs. Nevertheless, Irving's nostalgic and harmonious portrayal of Christmas resonated deeply with Americans, helping to establish a new, more family-oriented understanding of the holiday. His influence helped shape the Christmas we know and love today. Please comment 1 to let me know you'll be watching this video until the end. A Christmas Carol. Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, published in 1843, further solidified the evolving understanding of Christmas. Dickens's powerful story, emphasizing charity and goodwill, resonated deeply in both the United States and England. It presented a compelling argument for the social benefits of celebrating the holiday, particularly during the Victorian era, with its stark social inequalities. Scrooge's transformation highlighted the potential for positive change and the importance of compassion. This period also saw a shift in family dynamics. Families became less rigidly structured and more attuned to children's emotional needs. Christmas provided an ideal occasion to shower children with affection and gifts without the worry of spoiling them. It became a day specifically dedicated to family bonding and creating happy memories. As Christmas gained popularity as a family holiday, Americans began to rediscover older traditions, drawing inspiration from recent immigrants and established religious communities like Catholic and Episcopalian churches. Over the next century, a unique American Christmas tradition emerged, blending elements from various cultures, including decorating trees, sending holiday cards, and exchanging gifts. While many families believed they were following centuries-old customs, they were, in fact, creating something new, a reimagined holiday tailored to the cultural needs of a rapidly changing nation. This blending of old and new created the distinctly American Christmas we celebrate today. Who invented Santa Claus? The story of Santa Claus is a fascinating journey through history, beginning with Saint Nicholas, a monk born in Turkey around 280 AD. Nicholas dedicated his life to helping the poor and sick, using his inherited wealth to support those in need. Over time, he became a beloved figure, known as the protector of children and sailors. Saint Nicholas first made his appearance in American culture in the late 1700s, particularly in New York, where Dutch communities gathered to commemorate the anniversary of his death. They called him Sint Nicholas, or Sinterklaas for short. It's from this Dutch nickname that we get the name Santa Claus. The familiar image of Santa Claus as a cheerful gift giver took shape in 1822, when Clement Clark Moore, an Episcopal minister, penned the now classic poem, An Account of a Visit from St. Nicholas, better known as "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Moore's poem introduced the world to a jolly Santa who flew from house to house in a reindeer-drawn sleigh, delivering toys to children. This image was further cemented in 1881, thanks to political cartoonist Thomas Nast. Drawing inspiration from Moore's poem, Nast created the iconic image of Santa Claus we know today. A plump, cheerful man with a white beard, dressed in red, carrying a sack full of toys. This visual representation became the standard, transforming St. Nicholas, the compassionate monk, into the globally recognized symbol of Christmas cheer. What Christmas tradition are you most curious about after learning about its history? Christmas facts. Let's delve into some fascinating Christmas facts. Every year, a staggering 25 to 30 million real Christmas trees are sold across the United States. These trees are grown on approximately 15,000 Christmas tree farms nationwide, taking anywhere from 4 to 15 years to reach their perfect holiday size. Now, here's a surprising fact. Christmas was actually banned in Boston from 1659 to 1681. Celebrating the holiday could cost you 5 shillings, a hefty fine back then. It wasn't until June 26, 1870, that Christmas became an official federal holiday in the U.S. Did you know the first eggnog in the United States was enjoyed in Captain John Smith's Jamestown settlement way back in 1607, a festive start to an American tradition. Those beautiful poinsettias we associate with Christmas are named after Joel R. Poinsett, an American minister to Mexico. He introduced the vibrant red and green plant to the U.S. in 1828. And what about the Salvation Army's Santa Claus-clad donation collectors? That tradition dates back to the 1890s, a heartwarming example of holiday giving. Rudolph, the most famous reindeer of all, sprang from the imagination of Robert L. May in 1939. May, a copywriter, wrote the now iconic Rudolph poem for the Montgomery Ward department store, a clever marketing strategy that became a beloved Christmas story. Finally, the magnificent Rockefeller Center Christmas tree tradition began with construction workers in 1931. They erected the first tree during the Great Depression, a symbol of hope and resilience amidst challenging times. How Christmas was celebrated in the Middle Ages. Christmas in the Middle Ages was a far cry from the quiet, cozy holiday we often imagine today. Forget Santa Claus, carols, and twinkling trees. Instead, picture 12 days of non-stop feasting and revelry, culminating in the boisterous crowning of a king of misrule on Twelfth Night. Feasting. Christmas feasting in the Middle Ages was a grand affair, kicking off before sunrise on Christmas morning with a special Mass. This marked the end of Advent and the start of 12 days of indulgence, lasting until January 5th. The extent of the feasting, of course, depended on your social standing. Even those with modest means would typically slaughter a pig in November, preserving the meat to enjoy bacon and ham throughout the Christmas season. For tenant farmers, Christmas brought a welcome respite. Wealthy lords were expected to grant them 12 days off from their labors and provide a festive meal. While precise menus are hard to come by, a 14th century text, The Goodman of Paris, offers a glimpse into a typical, special feast. Imagine multiple courses, pasties, sausages, and black pudding to start, followed by fish, fowl, and roasted meats. And finally, a delightful array of custards, tarts, nuts, and sweetmeats. Royal Christmas feasts were even more extravagant. King Henry III's Christmas dinner at Reading Abbey in 1226 included 40 salmon, mountains of venison and boar, and as many lampreys as possible. Later, Henry V added exotic delicacies like crayfish, eels, and even porpoise to his royal Christmas menu. But feasting wasn't just about food. Drink played an equally important role, perhaps even more so. Commoners enjoyed ale and spiced cider, while the nobility indulged in copious amounts of wine. Records show that King Henry III ordered a staggering 60 tons of wine for Reading Abbey in a single year. That's the equivalent of over 76,000 bottles. These lavish feasts highlight the central role of food and drink in medieval Christmas celebrations, a time of abundance and shared enjoyment. Mumming, hoggling, and the Feast of Fools. Medieval Christmas celebrations included a playful element of disguise and role reversal, often echoing earlier pagan winter solstice customs. These traditions added a touch of mischief and merriment to the festive season. One popular pastime was mumming. Imagine villagers dressed in animal masks or disguised as women, going from house to house, singing festive songs and telling jokes. Some mummers performed simply for enjoyment, while others hoped for small gifts or coins in return. These animal masks might be linked to another curious custom practiced among royalty. Revelers would parade through the feasting hall wearing cooked animal heads, often a boar's head, while singing special songs. Later, a wooden boar's head mask replaced the actual cooked head, perhaps a slightly less messy alternative. Midway through the 12-day celebration came the Feast of Fools, held on January 1st. This unique tradition gave priests, deacons, and other church officials a temporary license to act foolishly. Role reversals were common, with subdeacons delivering mock sermons. things could get quite out of hand, as evidenced by a disapproving 15th century French account describing priests wearing masks, dancing in the choir dressed as women or minstrels, singing bawdy songs, and even playing dice during Mass. These lively customs, while sometimes controversial, added a unique dimension to medieval Christmas celebrations, showcasing a blend of religious observance and playful irreverence. Bean cake. Twelfth Night, celebrated on January 5th, marked the grand finale of the 12-day Christmas celebration in the Middle Ages. It was a significant holiday in its own right, representing the culmination of merrymaking and mischief. Shakespeare's famous comedy, Twelfth Night, was likely written to be performed on this very occasion, which explains its themes of cross-dressing and playful pranks. A key element of Twelfth Night festivities was the bean cake, a rich, fruit-filled cake with a single dried bean hidden inside. Whoever received the slice containing the bean became king for the night, also known as the Lord of Misrule. This temporary monarch had the power to issue silly commands and penalties, turning social hierarchies upside down. Imagine demanding embarrassing tasks from parents, teachers, or even lords. Twelfth Night served as the climax of nearly 2 weeks of feasting, drinking, dressing up, and playfully breaking the rules. It offered a final burst of festive energy before the return to ordinary life. This tradition highlights the importance of play and social inversion in medieval Christmas celebrations, allowing for a temporary escape from everyday routines and social norms. Predicting the future. Interestingly, the 12 days of Christmas held special meaning beyond feasting and revelry. These days were also important for prognostication, a medieval practice of predicting the future. Priests consulted texts known as prognostics. These guides outlined how to interpret natural signs, like storms, winds, and rainbows, to forecast the weather for the coming year and even predict significant events. The belief was that God sent these signs for those who knew how to read them, and the 12 days of Christmas were a particularly potent time for receiving these divine messages. For example, a sunny, clear Christmas day was considered a positive omen, predicting a warm spring, bountiful harvests, and good health. However, strong winds on Christmas Day signaled a difficult year ahead for the wealthy and powerful. These practices reveal the importance of observing the natural world in medieval society and the deep connection between religious beliefs and everyday life. The 12 days of Christmas, therefore, were not only a time for celebration, but also a time for seeking guidance and understanding the year to come. What was Christmas like for America's enslaved people? The experience of Christmas for enslaved people in America was far from uniform, ranging from moments of respite to opportunities for resistance. While some post-Civil War accounts by white Southerners presented a romanticized view of happy slaves, gratefully accepting gifts and celebrating with their enslavers, the reality was much more nuanced and often fraught with tension. During the antebellum period, 1812-1861, Southern states like Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas led the way in declaring Christmas a state holiday. It was in this context that many familiar Christmas traditions, gift-giving, carols, and home decorations took root in American culture. For many enslaved people, Christmas offered the longest break of the year, typically a few days. Some were even allowed to travel to see family or get married. They might receive gifts from their enslavers and enjoy special foods rarely available at other times. Christmas gift. For slaveholders, gift-giving during Christmas was often a demonstration of power and control, reinforcing their paternalistic relationship with the people they enslaved. It provided an opportunity to bestow items withheld throughout the year, such as shoes, clothing, or small amounts of money. Texas historian Elizabeth Silverthorne documents one slaveholder who gave each enslaved family $25, while children received candy and pennies. This act, while seemingly generous, underscored the power imbalance inherent in the system. Historian Stephen Nissenbaum, in his book The Battle for Christmas, describes how one white overseer viewed gift-giving as a more effective tool of control than physical violence. He boasted of providing a lavish Christmas dinner for the enslaved people, believing it fostered greater compliance than any form of punishment. However, reciprocal gift-giving from enslaved people to their owners was rare. Historians Shauna Bigham and Robert E. May explain that such displays of economic equality would have challenged the enforced image of childlike dependency expected of enslaved individuals. Even in holiday games, like the Christmas gift game, where participants exchanged gifts, enslaved people were not expected to give presents when they lost. While there were occasional exceptions, such as enslaved houseworkers gifting eggs wrapped in handkerchiefs, the overall pattern of one-sided gift-giving reinforced the dynamics of white power and paternalistic control. Christmas vacation and freedom. For enslaved people, Christmas offered a precious respite between the end of harvest season and the start of preparations for the next year's planting. It was a brief period of relative freedom within lives defined by arduous labor and confinement. Frederick Douglass, the renowned writer, orator, and abolitionist who escaped slavery at age 20, eloquently described this time as our own by the grace of our masters, a period they could use nearly as we pleased. Those with families living elsewhere often received permission to spend the entire 6 days between Christmas and New Year's with their loved ones. This relative freedom also presented opportunities for escape. In 1848, Ellen and William Craft, an enslaved couple from Georgia, cleverly used passes obtained during the Christmas season to execute a daring escape by train and steamer to Philadelphia. Similarly, in 1854, Harriet Tubman, the legendary conductor of the Underground Railroad, embarked on a perilous journey from Philadelphia to Maryland's eastern shore on Christmas Eve. She had learned that her 3 brothers were to be sold the day after Christmas, despite having been granted permission to visit family on Christmas Day. Instead of a family reunion, Tubman led her brothers to freedom in Philadelphia, turning the holiday into a moment of liberation. These acts of courage demonstrate how enslaved people seized upon the relative flexibility of the holiday season to pursue their dreams of freedom. John Coonering. Resistance for enslaved people during Christmas wasn't always about physical escape or open rebellion. It often manifested in the ways they adapted and transformed the dominant culture's traditions, creating spaces for self-expression and preserving their cultural heritage. In Wilmington, North Carolina, enslaved people celebrated John Coonering, also known as John Conu or John Canoe. This vibrant tradition involved dressing in elaborate costumes and going house to house, singing, dancing, and playing music with instruments fashioned from rib bones, cow horns, and triangles. At each stop, they expected to receive gifts. Harriet Jacobs, a writer and abolitionist who had herself escaped slavery, recalled in her autobiography how central John Coonering was to the Christmas experience. Without them, Christmas would be shorn of its greatest attraction. While not all white residents of Wilmington approved of these public displays of joy, some, like Judge Thomas Ruffin, saw them as a harmless form of entertainment for enslaved people between periods of labor. Historian Sterling Stuess Kay, author of Slave Culture, connects John Coonering to deep African roots, highlighting the importance of dance and song in West African religious practices. In this context, the Christmas season provided a space for enslaved Africans to maintain a connection to their spiritual heritage through John Coonering, imbuing the celebration with sacred meaning. This tradition demonstrates how enslaved people creatively adapted Christmas rituals, transforming them into powerful expressions of their own culture and resilience. How 20 Christmas traditions got their start. Ever wonder about the hidden history behind your favorite Christmas traditions? From ancient customs to modern quirks, the way Americans celebrate Christmas is a fascinating mix of old and new. Did you know that some of our favorite holiday rituals have roots in 16th century Germany or even ancient Greece? Get ready to uncover the surprising stories behind 20 beloved traditions, from decorating trees and swapping cookies to sipping eggnog and rocking those outrageously ugly sweaters. Let's dive into the colorful tapestry of Christmas in America. Yule log. The burning of a Yule log dates back to ancient winter solstice celebrations, symbolizing warmth, light, and the return of the sun. But it was Americans who gave this ancient custom a modern twist, bringing the crackling fireplace into our homes through the magic of television. Back in 1966, WPIX-TV in New York City aired a rather simple but revolutionary program, a continuous 17-second loop of a fireplace accompanied by festive holiday music. This visual and auditory treat, which played for 3 hours, was designed to create a warm and inviting atmosphere for viewers during the Christmas season. It was a hit. The initial Yule log broadcast was a bit rudimentary by today's standards, but it sparked a tradition that continues to this day. Over time, the production quality improved, and the Yule log became an annual holiday viewing event for nearly 2 decades. Families gathered around their televisions to enjoy the comforting sight and sound of a crackling fire, creating a sense of togetherness and relaxation during the often hectic holiday season. Today, thanks to the wonders of technology, we can enjoy the Yule log anytime, anywhere. On-demand services and websites offer various versions, from traditional fireplace scenes to more creatively themed versions. Christmas pickles. The tradition goes that the first child to spot the pickle on the Christmas tree gets a special prize, maybe an extra gift, or the honor of opening the first present on Christmas morning. It's a fun little game that adds an element of surprise to the holiday festivities. Now, where did this unusual tradition come from? Well, the origins are a little pickled, you might say. The story most often told involves the retailer Woolworths back in the late 1800s. According to this tale, Woolworths began importing glass ornaments from Germany, including ones shaped like pickles. To boost sales, they created a story around the pickle ornament, inventing the tradition we know today. However, there's little historical evidence to support this Woolworths origin story. It seems to be more of a marketing myth than historical fact. Many historians believe the Christmas pickle tradition is a more recent invention, likely originating in the United States, and the Woolworths story is simply a charming, albeit fabricated explanation. Have you ever hidden a Christmas pickle on your tree? Let us know in the comments below. Candy canes. It's a Christmas icon. Whether you enjoy them as a sweet treat or use them as festive decorations, candy canes are synonymous with the holiday season. In fact, they're the top-selling non-chocolate candy during the month of December. But, have you ever wondered about the history of these peppermint swirls? The story begins in Germany, way back in 1670. The exact details of their origin are a bit murky, but one popular story claims that a choir master in Cologne, Germany, gave his young singers sugar sticks bent into the shape of a shepherd's crook to keep them quiet during long church services. Candy canes eventually made their way across the Atlantic to America in 1847. A German-Swedish immigrant living in Wooster, Ohio, is credited with introducing them to the States by decorating his Christmas tree with these sweet treats. Imagine, he was a true Christmas innovator. For many years, candy canes were made by hand, a labor-intensive process. But in the 1950s, everything changed with the invention of an automated candy cane making machine. This innovation made it possible to produce candy canes on a massive scale, making them more accessible and affordable for everyone. Please comment 1 to let me know you'll be watching this video until the end. The Rockettes. Let's talk about high kicks and holiday magic. We're diving into the history of the iconic Rockettes. These incredible dancers have been a beloved part of the Christmas season for generations. Did you know they started out as the Missouri Rockets way back in 1925? It wasn't until 1934 that they officially became the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes, the name we know and love today. From the very beginning, the Rockettes have been captivating audiences with their precision and energy. They've done it all, performing at movie premieres, entertaining troops overseas, and dazzling viewers on television. But what they're truly famous for is their annual Christmas Spectacular. It's a holiday tradition for so many. The Christmas Spectacular isn't just a dance performance, it's a full-blown theatrical experience. The show combines incredible choreography, elaborate costumes, dazzling sets, and often live animals to create a truly unforgettable spectacle. From the iconic Parade of the Wooden Soldiers, with its perfectly synchronized moves, to the living nativity scene complete with camels and sheep, the show is a feast for the senses. It truly embodies the spirit of Christmas, blending tradition with breathtaking artistry. Christmas tree. Ever wonder where this festive tradition came from? Well, the story begins way back in the Middle Ages in Germany. People would decorate trees, bringing a touch of nature indoors during the winter. This custom eventually spread throughout Europe. Then, as people immigrated to America, particularly in the early 1800s, they brought their love of Christmas trees with them. It really took off here. Think about it. A decorated tree brings warmth, light, and a bit of magic to the holiday season. A New Yorker named Mark Carr saw a business opportunity in this growing trend and opened the very first Christmas tree lot in the U.S. in 1851. Can you imagine? He was a pioneer of Christmas cheer. Fast forward to today, and Christmas trees are a staple in American homes. A recent survey showed that nearly 8 in 10 families display a Christmas tree. Now, here's something interesting. While the scent and feel of a real tree are undeniably special, most people these days opt for artificial ones. About 4 out of 5 Christmas trees displayed are artificial. There are several reasons for this. Artificial trees are reusable, saving money in the long run. They're also convenient. No need to worry about watering or needles dropping. Plus, they come in a wide variety of shapes, sizes, and colors, making it easy to find the perfect fit for any home. Cookie swaps. Cookie swaps. The delicious tradition of gathering with friends and neighbors to exchange homemade cookies has been a cherished part of American culture for over a century. The idea is simple but brilliant. Everyone bakes a dozen of their favorite cookies, brings them to the party, and then everyone gets to sample a wide variety of sweet treats to take home. While the exact origins are a bit fuzzy, evidence suggests that cookie swaps, or as they were once called, cookie parties and cookie exchanges, have existed since the late 1800s. Robin Olson, author of the Cookie Party Cookbook, notes that the term cookie exchange emerged in the 1930s, while cookie swap became more common in the 1950s. Historically, cookie exchanges were predominantly women's events, a social gathering for friends, family, neighbors, and colleagues. The atmosphere was often convivial, offering a chance to catch up with others while enjoying delicious cookies. These swaps were common in various settings, from church groups to workplace gatherings to school functions. What's your favorite cookie to make for a cookie swap? Share your recipe ideas in the comments below. It's a Wonderful Life. Few films are as synonymous with Christmas as Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life. This heartwarming classic, starring Jimmy Stewart as the beleaguered George Bailey, has become a beloved holiday tradition, watched and rewatched by generations. However, the film's journey to becoming a holiday staple wasn't exactly a smooth one. When It's a Wonderful Life premiered in 1946, it actually underperformed at the box office. Despite receiving 5 Oscar nominations, it didn't win any. It seemed destined to be just another film. The film's popularity soared unexpectedly in the 1970s, thanks to a lapsed copyright. This allowed television stations to air the movie freely, leading to increased viewership and a newfound appreciation for its timeless message. It became an annual holiday tradition. Since 1994, It's a Wonderful Life has enjoyed a stable broadcast home, airing exclusively on NBC and USA Network. The film's enduring popularity is a testament to its powerful and resonant story, George Bailey's journey, his struggles, his despair, and, ultimately, his rediscovery of life's meaning, strikes a chord with audiences, reminding us of the importance of family, community, and the simple joys of life. Department Store Santa. The sight of children sitting on Santa's lap at the mall, patiently waiting for their turn to whisper their Christmas wishes, is a quintessential Christmas scene. But this beloved tradition isn't as modern as you might think. It all started in 1890 in Brockton, Massachusetts. A man named James Edgar, a shrewd retailer, had a brilliant idea. He commissioned a Santa Claus suit and donned the jolly attire at his dry goods store. The gimmick proved to be an instant success, attracting customers and creating a memorable holiday experience. Within a year, other stores followed suit, pun intended, realizing the power of this marketing strategy. The tradition of having Santa in department stores quickly caught on, spreading throughout the country. Boozy eggnog. Ah, eggnog. The creamy, comforting, and often spirited beverage that perfectly captures the essence of the holiday season. While it's become a staple of modern Christmas celebrations, eggnog's history is surprisingly rich and far older than you might imagine. Its roots can be traced back to medieval England, to a drink known as posset. This warm concoction combined hot milk with ale or wine, creating a comforting and slightly boozy brew. Over time, posset evolved, incorporating eggs and sweeteners, and eventually making its way across the Atlantic. American colonists embraced this drink and made it their own, adding a splash of rum to the mix. Rum eggnog, with its warm spices and creamy texture, became a beloved holiday beverage. It wasn't just a simple drink. It became a symbol of festive cheer and hospitality. Gingerbread houses. These delightful edible creations have become a cherished part of Christmas traditions. While Queen Elizabeth I is often credited with popularizing the decorating of gingerbread cookies, the tradition of building gingerbread houses that can be traced back, once again, to Germany. The Brothers Grimm, famous for their collection of fairy tales, played a significant role in cementing the gingerbread house's place in Christmas lore. Their story of the Hansel and Gretel, featuring a delicious but dangerous gingerbread house inhabited by a wicked witch, captured the imagination of children and adults alike. The image of a house made entirely of sweets, adorned with icing and candies, became inextricably linked with the holiday season. Today, creating gingerbread houses is a popular Christmas activity for families and friends. Thanks to the availability of pre-packaged kits, building these edible masterpieces has become much easier. These kits contain pre-baked gingerbread house pieces, icing, and an assortment of candies for decoration, making the process accessible and enjoyable for all ages. Ugly Christmas sweaters. These intentionally gaudy garments have become a holiday staple, embraced for their over-the-top designs and ironic charm. And for this quirky tradition, we can thank our neighbors to the north, Canada. While the exact origins are a bit fuzzy, ugly Christmas sweaters started gaining popularity in the 1980s, but it was in the early 2000s that they really took off, thanks to a group of friends in Vancouver, Canada. According to the Ugly Christmas Sweater Party book, these friends started throwing annual ugly Christmas sweater parties, and the trend quickly spread. What started as a niche trend has become a full-blown phenomenon. Today, the ugly Christmas sweater industry is a multi-million-dollar business. Retailers like Macy's, Kohl's, and Target dedicate entire sections to these festive garments. Online retailers like Tipsy Elves specialize in creating unique and outlandish designs. Even food chains have jumped on the bandwagon, incorporating ugly sweater themes into their holiday promotions. The appeal of ugly Christmas sweaters lies in their playful and ironic nature. They allow us to embrace the silliness of the holiday season, poking fun at the sometimes excessive nature of Christmas decorations and traditions. Wearing an ugly Christmas sweater is a way to express your personality and sense of humor, adding a touch of lightheartedness to holiday gatherings. What's your family's most cherished Christmas tradition, and what makes it so special? Christmas cards. Sending Christmas cards is a cherished tradition, a way to share holiday greetings and connect with loved ones near and far. But this simple act of sending a message has a surprisingly rich history. The very first Christmas card officially debuted in 1843 in England. A simple design featuring a heartwarming scene and a straightforward message, "A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you," marked the beginning of this enduring tradition. The idea of sending holiday greetings through the mail gradually gained popularity, both in Britain and the United States. It took some time to really catch on, but it did. Over the years, the designs became increasingly elaborate and creative. In 1915, a major player entered the Christmas card scene, the Hall brothers, based in Kansas City, now the well-known Hallmark. They created a folded card sold with an envelope, making Christmas cards more accessible and practical. Hallmark's innovative designs and clever marketing played a significant role in cementing the Christmas card as a mainstay holiday tradition. Do you send Christmas cards, and what style do you prefer? Share your thoughts in the comments. Elf on the Shelf. Love it or hate it, the elf on the shelf has become a modern Christmas phenomenon. Since 2005, this little scout elf has been making its way into homes across the country, bringing both joy and a healthy dose of parental exhaustion. The concept is simple. The elf acts as Santa's eyes and ears, observing children's behavior during the day and reporting back to the North Pole each night. Then, before the children wake up, the elf returns to a new hiding spot in the house, ready for another day of playful surveillance. The phenomenon began with the book Elf on the Shelf, A Christmas Tradition, published by Carol Ebersold and her daughter, Chanda Bell. The book, which comes with a little elf doll, quickly became a bestseller, sparking a new holiday tradition for millions. Over 13 million elves have been adopted into families since the book's release. The Elf on the Shelf has tapped into the magic and wonder of Christmas, providing a fun and engaging way for families to count down the days until Santa's arrival. Children delight in discovering the elf's new hiding spot each morning, sparking their imagination and adding a touch of whimsy to the holiday season. However, the tradition has also generated its fair share of, shall we say, spirited debate amongst parents. The nightly elf-moving ritual can be a creative challenge, sometimes turning into a full-blown production. Thanks to social media, parents have taken elf antics to a whole new level, creating elaborate and often hilarious scenarios for their elves, from toilet papering the Christmas tree to filling the sink with marshmallows. While some parents embrace the challenge, others find it to be an added burden during an already busy holiday season. Advent calendar. These festive calendars have become a beloved tradition for counting down the days to Christmas. But where did this tradition come from? The story begins in Germany in the early 1900s with a publisher named Gerhard Lang. He created early versions of the Advent calendar to help children anticipate Christmas. These early calendars were simple, featuring little doors or windows that opened to reveal a Bible verse, a poem, or a small treat. By 1920, Advent calendars had gained widespread popularity, and over time, they've evolved quite a bit. While some families still use religious Advent calendars, many have become more secular, featuring a wide variety of daily surprises. You can find Advent calendars filled with everything from mini bottles of wine and nail polish to chocolates and action figures. There's truly an Advent calendar for everyone. The beauty of the Advent calendar lies in the anticipation it creates. Each day brings a small moment of joy and excitement as you open a new window or door, revealing the hidden treat inside. It's a fun and engaging way to mark the passage of time leading up to Christmas, especially for children. It's also a wonderful way for families to connect and create shared memories during the holiday season. Whether you prefer a traditional Advent calendar with religious themes or a modern one filled with your favorite treats, the spirit of anticipation and joy remains the same. Do you use an Advent calendar to count down to Christmas? What kind do you prefer? Let us know in the comments below. The Nutcracker. For many, the holidays just wouldn't be complete without experiencing the magic of the Nutcracker ballet. This timeless classic has become a cherished holiday tradition, enchanting audiences of all ages with its captivating story, breathtaking choreography, and unforgettable score. The Nutcracker first premiered in St. Petersburg, Russia, on December 18, 1892. The music, composed by the legendary Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, is instantly recognizable, filled with iconic melodies like the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy and the Waltz of the Flowers. The original choreography, created by Marius Petipa, is just as captivating, telling the story of young Clara's magical Christmas Eve adventure. It took a while for the Nutcracker to make its way to other parts of the world. The first performance outside of Russia took place in England in 1934. It wasn't until 1944 that the ballet finally reached the United States, thanks to the San Francisco Ballet. However, it wasn't an instant hit in America. It was in the 1960s that the Nutcracker truly took hold in the United States, becoming a must-see holiday event. Ballet companies across the nation began staging their own productions, and the tradition of attending the Nutcracker during the Christmas season quickly spread. Cookies and milk for Santa. Leaving cookies and milk for Santa Claus is a beloved Christmas Eve tradition for families around the world. But did you know that the roots of this custom stretch back much further than you might think? While its modern form is relatively recent, the practice of leaving treats for mythical beings has connections to ancient Norse mythology. In Norse tradition, children would leave offerings of hay and treats for Odin's eight-legged horse, Sleipnir. This act of generosity was believed to bring good fortune and blessings in return. Over time, this tradition evolved, blending with various cultural influences and eventually transforming into the Christmas Eve ritual we know today. In America, the tradition of leaving cookies and milk for Santa gained particular significance during the Great Depression in the 1930s. During this time of hardship and economic struggle, leaving treats for Santa became a way for families to express gratitude and hope, even in the face of adversity. It was a small act of kindness that symbolized the spirit of giving and the belief in something magical, even during difficult times. Door wreaths. These festive circles of greenery adorn doors and walls, adding a touch of holiday cheer to homes across the globe. But the wreath's history goes back much further than Christmas itself. Wreaths have been used for centuries, dating back to ancient Greece and Rome. They were often associated with celebrations and ceremonies, symbolizing victory, prosperity, and even eternity. The circular shape, unbroken and without end, represented the continuous cycle of life. Over time, wreaths made their way into Christian symbolism. The evergreen wreath, frequently decorated with holly boughs, became associated with the celebration of Christmas. The circle symbolized eternal life, while the holly leaves and berries held symbolic meaning, representing Christ's crown of thorns and his blood, according to some interpretations. What kind of wreath do you have on your door this year? Share your preferences in the comments below. A Charlie Brown Christmas. It's hard to believe, but A Charlie Brown Christmas, a holiday classic loved by generations, was almost never made. CBS executives initially rejected the special, which was inspired by Charles Schulz's beloved Peanuts comic strip. Can you imagine a Christmas season without Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and the whole gang? Thankfully, the network eventually changed its mind, and the special aired for the first time on December 9, 1965. And what a debut it was. Nearly half of all American televisions tuned in to watch. The response was overwhelmingly positive, leading to an Emmy Award, a Peabody Award, and, most importantly, a place in the hearts of millions. The success of A Charlie Brown Christmas is a testament to its simple yet powerful message. In a season often dominated by commercialism and extravagance, the special reminds us of the true meaning of Christmas. Charlie Brown, feeling lost and disillusioned by the holiday hype, sets out on a quest to find the real spirit of Christmas. His journey resonates with viewers of all ages who can relate to feelings of being overwhelmed by the pressures and expectations of the season. The little scraggly Christmas tree Charlie Brown chooses becomes a powerful symbol. It's not perfect, it's not flashy, but it represents something genuine. Linus's line, "I never thought it was such a bad little tree." It's not bad at all, really. Maybe it just needs a little love. Perfectly captures the heart of the special. It's a reminder that true beauty lies in simplicity and sincerity, not in material possessions or outward appearances. What's the most memorable Christmas gift you ever received or gave? Christmas lights. Twinkling lights are an indispensable part of the Christmas landscape, creating a magical ambiance and festive cheer. But who was the first to have the bright idea of illuminating a Christmas tree with electric lights? While Thomas Edison gets a lot of credit for inventing the light bulb, it was actually his friend and associate, Edward Hibbard Johnson, who had the brilliant idea of stringing electric lights around a Christmas tree in New York City way back in 1882. He used 80 handcrafted red, white, and blue light bulbs. That's pretty impressive. This first illuminated Christmas tree marked the beginning of a spectacular tradition. The early electric lights weren't easy to come by, but that didn't stop people from embracing this new method of decorating their trees. It gave the holiday a whole new dimension, literally. By 1914, electric Christmas lights were being mass-produced, making them much more affordable and accessible. This development significantly boosted the popularity of using lights as a Christmas decoration, transforming homes and neighborhoods into twinkling winter wonderlands. Making fun of fruitcake. While fruitcake holds a cherished place in British culture, even Princess Diana and Kate Middleton served it at their respective weddings, it's often the target of American humor. This long-running comedic tradition highlights the fruitcake's sometimes divisive nature. The joke started long ago. Truman Capote, the renowned writer, wrote a short story that included the phrase "fruitcake weather" in 1956. This humorous jab at the cake only added to its comedic reputation. Furthermore, Manitou Springs, Colorado, takes its fruitcake-related humor to the next level. They hold an annual fruitcake toss, a lighthearted event where participants hurl fruitcakes as far as they can. Comedians have also jumped on the fruitcake bandwagon, using it as a source of comedic fodder for decades. Johnny Carson famously quipped in 1985, "The worst Christmas gift is fruitcake. There is only one fruitcake in the entire world, and people keep sending it to each other." This witty observation perfectly encapsulates the enduring comedic appeal of fruitcake. From ancient midwinter festivals to modern-day traditions, the story of Christmas is a tapestry woven with threads of celebration, resilience, and cultural adaptation. Did I miss anything? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to explore other videos in our series and subscribe to Who Remembers. Don't forget to share the history with someone you know. Thanks for watching.